And Shannon Vlogs. Reading! Hey everyone, it's Shannon with my vlog number 11. Yes, number 11. Cheat sheet. And I actually have finished a few books that I would like to share. The first one, oh, and one I haven't finished that I may or may not share. The first one is The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin. Oh my goodness gracious, I love this book. I've been reading it since the beginning of the year, and I didn't want to rush my way through it. The premise of it is that Gretchen goes through a year where she decides she wants to be happier, and so she spends a year working towards it. So each chapter is focused on a month and certain areas of her life and certain goals that she wants to meet. And so there's, this isn't a sort of like read back, like, take your time, read it, enjoy it, think about it, think about how you can apply it to your own life kind of book, which is why it took me 3 months, and I'm totally okay with that. I think we get sort of set on, especially in fiction, this is nonfiction, but in fiction we get set on how fast we read and how much we read. So I was very happy to savor The Happiness Project, and oh, I savored it. I really, really, really enjoyed it. I love Gretchen Rubin. I'm on her mailing list, and one of the things that I love that she talks about is habit formation, and her latest book, Better Than Before, is all about habit formation, and it just recently came out, and she's currently on tour with the book. And it's just, I got an image of like a book in the shape of a plane, and like Gretchen like riding the plane of a book. Anyway, so that was weird. But yeah, and so I'm very excited, and she's coming to Toronto, and she just added 2 more dates. I'll leave information below where you can find out about the book tour, because for me, I'm gonna go, and I am so excited because I find her so inspiring. One of the things that she does is she does a lot of experiments and uses sort of like the scientific method in an approach to bettering her own life and like enjoying her own life and to bringing more happiness into her life. And I really, really love that idea. I think we can get bogged down in just sort of feeling like, you work with what you got, and you do, like, or just that you can't change things, and the truth is you can, and some of that, and different things that require change require a different approach, and sometimes things are just fine as they are. Like, everything is different, and she goes through so many different things over the year, and it's just full of amazing insights and just a really fascinating perspective, and I really appreciated it. The one thing though, I don't know, did I keep my bookmark in here? Because the one thing that did sort of throw me off all the time is she often gives quotes from, oh, did I not write it down? Samuel Johnson. And I am sorry, Gretchen, I can't remember who that is. I'm assuming someone American. Maybe not. But she quotes him all the time. But every time I read his name, in my head, I heard Samuel Jackson. And therefore, all of the Samuel Johnson quotes in my head were in Samuel Jackson's voice. And that's a bit weird. So, but one of the things I absolutely love about the book is she really embraces who she is, and that she likes what she likes, and she doesn't like what she doesn't like, and that's totally fine. But it's a huge realization to come to, and it's something that I think a lot of people do face a lot of resistance with. Anyway, if you are looking to make your life happier, better, and take more control, and to feel what the possibility of that could be like, I highly recommend checking out The Happiness Project. I'm also really looking forward to checking out her other book, Happier at Home, and of course the new book, Better Than Before, because I love habit formation. For me, this is a big year of working on habit formation. So it's just really, really great timing. So yay! What else am I reading? Oh, I gotta say, I am struggling so much with Far From the Madding Crowd. I read it, I stopped it, I kept reading it. I have some challenges with some of the characters and the perspective and the language and so many things, and it's my March Book to Film Club Book to Film Challenge selection, and I do not think I'm going to get through this sucker in the next week. But I do understand it, which was one of the reasons why I chose it, because I tried it before and I didn't understand it. So I'm happy I'm understanding it, but I'm not happy with the fact that I'm not reading it so much. But I'm gonna try and keep going, and I'm gonna set a new goal to read it by May. The film version comes out in May, and I really do want to read it before the film comes out. So, but the fact that it's a challenge is really is a little is more than a little stressful. I realize that one of the things that um that happens is that this is a more challenging book, and if I'm more stressed out or, tired or dealing with stuff, then it's harder for me to read a more challenging book. And this month has been more stressful than, well, it hasn't been terribly stressful, but I don't know, like, it's just my reading energy level is not matching my reading energy level for this book. And I try not to get too crazy over the top with making everything match up, but the reality is that I can't retain like this level of a challenging book right now. So, and that's really sucking, and I don't like that. I don't like it, but it's the truth. So I've already tried to shift my thinking once in terms of not taking notes while I'm reading this, and that worked for like a couple days, but then I stopped reading it again. So I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna keep. I don't know. Am I gonna keep trying? I don't know. I don't know. I'm gonna keep working on ways to read this. And I don't know, maybe it is time to let it go for now. I can't quite decide. I hate not achieving the goals I set out. So I'm struggling with that big time, as you can probably tell. So there we go. I'm that's my update. It certainly doesn't feel like a progress update, but it is an update on that. But I'm working on it. Not only working on reading it, but realizing the fact that right now it's not a really great time to read it. So that's like, what do you do? What do you do when that happens? And then what else did I read? I also read Darklight by Lesley Livingston. This is a young adult novel. It is the second in the series that started with Wonder is Strange, which follows a character that sort of finds out about a theater person who finds out about the world of fae or fairies. And I read the majority of it on St. Patrick's Day, and that was absolutely perfect. I couldn't of course it would be. Like, of course it would be. So, but just thematically, it was so nice to have that pairing. I don't usually do sort of timely of the year stuff. I know people talk about like summer reads and spooky stuff in October, and I don't really do that, but it was kind of nice, especially because I don't celebrate St. Patrick's Day. But it was kind of nice to have something that tied to it in a lighthearted and fun way. And I really enjoyed it, although I did start to see sort of the devices of young adult fiction, and it really felt like some other series, especially sort of like what tends to happen in the second book of a young adult series and stuff like that. So I got a little miffy at that, but it's like I'm not the target audience. Well, there's a discussion of who's the target audience for young adult, but I'm not a young adult, so technically I'm not the target audience, but I do still tend to enjoy a lot of young adult titles, and but I don't tend to read them as much. But again, it was much on the energy level sort of thing that I could read, whereas Far From the Madding Crowd was like way too challenging. But YA is something I can go to when I'm feeling like I just, my retention level, or what, not retention's not the right word, I'm not sure what the right way to describe it is, but it just didn't match my energy. But young adult definitely did. So I'm really happy that I read it. I have already requested the third book, Tempestuous, I think. And although I was disappointed because the other one had the first one, Wonder Strange, had a lot of sort of theater elements that were a part of it, and Darklight did not quite have that much. It was more about the characters and the Fae world and stuff like that. And that totally makes sense. I just, I really enjoyed the combination of the fact that there was like theater elements and Fae elements and just performing arts and like, magical world. I'm like, it's so awesome. So this one's more set on the magical world, and that's awesome too, but it's also more set on, I really sort of more felt the YA elements and how the story structure, and could see things coming and that kind of stuff, which I didn't feel in the first book at all. So, but it was still really magical, and and really interesting, and I like the characters. So, but I'm looking forward to reading the third book and to getting one more series read. Woohoo! I try not to get totally over the top on like the accomplishment factor of just finishing stuff, and remember to enjoy things along the way. But you know, I can't help it. I still like get that rush of like, I did it, I finished, woohoo! So I'm gunning for that one, especially because it is a trilogy and it completes as a trilogy as opposed to having extra books or more books or the trilogy that becomes 6 books or has an alternate universe or alternate perspectives. It's like it's just the 3 books, people, as far as I know. And if it's more, I don't want to know. Anyway, that is what I have been reading and thinking about in the bookish world. I would love to hear what you're reading. Have you read any of these books? I highly recommend The Happiness Project, and I will leave the link below for Gretchen Rubin's tour for Better Than Before. I can't wait to see her, and I can't wait to read it. So, alright, thanks, bye!